So here's every keyboard I've tested in the last year. Everything from standard mechanical ones to tenting keyboards that split in half. And I actually ended up liking the non-ergonomic ones. Let me explain. So I've been having a bit of wrist, forearm, but mostly finger pain, typing and using my mouse for the past couple of years. So this past year, instead of only listening to ergonomic experts online, I invested some time and money into figuring out which keyboard may be the best ergonomically for me. The key part being for me. Each one of us are different and have different needs on how we use the computer. What's best for me may not be best for you. Please note, this is not a review of specific keyboards, but rather an explanation of how different form factors and types of keyboards had helped me or not. So looking at the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, it says that these factors are the most important for ergonomics when it comes to keyboards. So by expert standards, I believe the split keyboard is considered to be the most ergonomic. But let's work our way down the list. I started off with a regular mechanical keyboard. While the nicest looking and the most popular amongst keyboard enthusiasts, it's probably the worst one for me. The fatigue in my fingers settle in significantly faster when using these large mechanical keys. They require too much travel and pressure to press. You can use key switches that are pretty light to reduce the pressing force. The distance my finger travels also really matters. Not to mention, many of these keyboards don't come with a wrist rest. Therefore, after around 10 minutes of use, I can already feel the strain it puts on my wrist by having to angle them up to type, which I believe is termed as an excessive wrist extension. But mechanical keyboards are not lost. To tackle two of these issues, you can purchase a separate keyboard pad and get a low-profile mechanical keyboard. These two factors have definitely made a difference for me, but still, the pain in my fingers and my arms persist. So I turned towards low-profile keyboards like this Apple Magic keyboard, which has one of my favorite keys. The low-profile keys feel amazing and reduce the amount of pressure and travel I have to use when typing, although I found it still doesn't completely eliminate the finger fatigue that I get. It's also low enough that I don't feel the need for a wrist rest, so a soft leather or felt desk pad will be enough to prevent my bottoms of the palms from hurting. But even after a while of use, the nature of these keyboards point my wrists outwards, which causes my forearm to be flexed in this position. I still found that the forearm muscles up here and in the outer wrist tended to hurt over time. So naturally, I landed on trying the Logitech Ergo K860. This keyboard knocks on all the ergonomic factors that experts say to look out for, except for the keyboard length. I figured that didn't matter since it's natural for a split keyboard to be longer, but this came back to haunt me later. Nevertheless, I think this keyboard is a great step towards ergonomics without being too daunting. It took me about 1 to 2 days of typing until I got used to this. I find the natural curvature of the keyboard helps keep my hand in a neutral position. The low profile keys don't require as much pressure as mechanical keys, but aren't quite as nice or soft to type on as a Magic Keyboard or other proper mechanical keyboards. I switch between split keyboards and the regular ones all the time, and I have no problem bouncing between the two. Your muscle memory should help you jump between the different keyboard styles with no issues. If you still think the split keyboard transition will be too difficult for you, you can try out this Logitech Wave keys. I did find it to provide minimal improvement towards neutralizing your wrist, but I don't think it's really worth your time. You should just go ahead and purchase the full split keyboard if you're even considering it. But let's take it up a notch with a fully split keyboard. This is the Perixx Periboard-624B, and it's a true split. I found this keyboard to be effective in forcing me to pull my shoulders back so I keep a better upright posture. To prevent the same type of wrist and forearm strain from flat keyboards, a method called tenting can be applied to angle your keyboards. Not all keyboards offer this function, and ones that do are usually pretty expensive. This was pretty much the cheapest one that I could find. It has roughly a 20-degree pitch, which I find is more than enough to keep a neutral wrist position. This does take a bit of adjusting to, but if you already know how to use a split keyboard, it's really not too bad. Overall, I did find ergonomically that this keyboard's form factor was the best for me. It reduced the wrist and forearm pain the most, and felt the most natural. But I did find my productivity drop even after a week of using it. On top of that, I wasn't able to find any tenting keyboards that weren't mechanical or had a low profile key beside this one, and I was not a particular fan of how these keys felt. So while I did feel the benefits, it wasn't large enough for me to completely switch over to this style of keyboard. It offered pretty much the same benefits as a split keyboard like the Ergo Logitech one, but came with more limited options, which would naturally make me lean towards using the Ergo keyboard a lot more. But one thing I rarely addressed is that I didn't consider the length of the keyboard. It's recommended that the keyboard is around 12 to 14 inches, which I never really understood why, since I enjoy using the keypad to the right, and it's not like my keys are spaced apart unnaturally. But what I didn't take into account is that the keyboard and the mouse go hand in hand. My keyboard is extremely large, like the split keyboard. My mouse ends up being very far to the right, and this would result in poor posture when using my mouse, which for editing photos and videos, I use a lot more than the keyboard. This meant no matter how ergonomic my keyboard was, it made me use my mouse in a less ergonomic way, making my forearm and finger pain persist. Being someone that uses my mouse much more than the keyboard, overall mouse ergonomics were more important. So I actually decided to go with a smaller, low-profile mechanical keyboard. As long as I throw a mouse pad on it, I find it's perfect for sending small text or just using it for commands when editing videos. An option to replace the number pad if you use it a lot is to purchase a separate one and leave it on your left side. I still use my ergonomic keyboard though. Just like my mouse, where I switch between trackball and regular, I switch between this keyboard and the larger split Ergo keyboard if I know I'll be typing a lot. I found this to be the best way for me to keep my posture upright when I'm at my desk for different tasks, but by no means has this eliminated the pain. The best ergonomics can only extend the amount of time you use your peripherals. It's kind of like running. You can have the best shoes and the perfect form, but your legs will eventually give out with time. You need to know your hands and forearms' limits and spend time resting in between your work sessions. Good ergonomics is a band-aid, not a solution. Thanks for watching. Oh, and don't worry, I finally got a better desk pad.